Good afternoon and welcome to another installment of The Breakdown on the United Hour, where we break down Manchester United's last performance. Um, I'm really unhappy. I'm really upset. I think I'm more upset today than when we got crushed from Liverpool because we all went into that Liverpool game with genuine concerns because United as a team was underperforming. But Newcastle. Well, inside the house with me bring everybody in. Let me bring the team in. We got the man, Jody Alexander, Greg B, Tony O, and the man, Big Phil himself. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Afternoon,
What's going
bro.
on? What's
Good
going on? What's going
afternoon.
on?
Good afternoon.
Yeah. So, you know, let's start it off. Manchester United took on Newcastle at St. James's Park yesterday, and we drew 1-all. Before we get into the specifics of the game and you know before we dissect the players in terms of going through the player ratings, and we're going to dissect the players when we go through the player ratings. We're not going to do that right about now. I want to start off asking this question before we even get into the game. you know um Good evening to Davion. Before we get into the game, the question that I want to ask you all is this: different manager, same result. And before we get into this game, I want to ask this question: was Ole really the problem, boy? Was Ole the problem?
Not
Who
the
wanna go
biggest.
first? All right,
Not
Greg, you go ahead.
not the biggest for me because how is it that he can get these players previous seasons to finish third and second? You throw a couple of spanners in the works, and it's just like everything just goes haywire. Meanwhile, you have someone like Ralph, who, as much as he is an astute tactician, has to kind of clean up a mess that all he has found himself into because people kind of, to an extent, figured out his tactics. But at the same time, he was still able to kind of garner some sort of response out of these players because he knew how he wanted them to react in certain situations. It's it's a conundrum because it really kind of just leaves you wondering what is going on. Where is it fundamentally, and where are we as regards like the ambition in this team? I mean, I think I had to show off my shirt too because at the end of the day, it kind of speaks volumes on that. It says ambition at the bottom there, and I feel like the players and the club in itself on a whole just lack that all around.
All right, who wanna go next?
What I would say quickly is that for me, just going on what Greg said, is that you really have to question I wouldn't so much question the ambition of the club, even though we know the Glazers can definitely do more in terms of the football side of the club. But they have invested and they have spent money. And when you look at Manchester United's roster, we have a lot of what people would consider very good players. So definitely something to the core of this team is definitely wrong. No matter what coach comes in, you know what? Ralph's system probably works, but you know what the problem? You have to have the right players and the right mentality for that system to work. And I think that's where the problem lies with these players, and has been the problem with Manchester United players over the years. It's as if there's no accountability for poor performances, as if these players don't even play for each other. It's almost as if everybody's looking to point a finger rather than say, let me take some responsibility, And it's disappointing to see.
I'm gonna pitch in a little bit, right? Because it's almost like all the players want to be heroes. Everybody wants to be a Hulk. Everybody wants to be Iron Man. Nobody wants to play as the
Egos.
Avengers, right? Just everybody going
Exactly.
and doing their own thing. It's like 11 individuals, bar David De Gea, going onto the pitch and doing whatever they feel like, right? And that's not down to coaching. Somebody needs to slap some of these players across their head and say, you know what? You are part of this Manchester United team. This team is not. This team does not revolve around you. This team revolves around Manchester United Football Club, right? And at the end of the day, some of these players think that they can get away with certain things because certain managers saw them as their favorites, and that has to stop. Will Ralph put a stop to it? Like I said, it's too early. It's too early. I expect to see maybe bigger changes, maybe around end of January, early February. So we'll see.
I agree. I agree with Big Phil there. To be honest, I think you can't turn around and say Ollie was the real problem. Yes, Ollie's job was to
Raise up your
motivate
volume,
players.
Jody.
I said Ollie's problem was to motivate and raise players' game. But the fact of the matter is, and it remains, that some of these players just aren't good enough to be playing for Manchester United, and that's the bottom line. We can sit here and saying that how it's individualism, but it's only individualism because some of these players have no football intelligence, and that's just it. It's the bottom line. I had this argument earlier on when I talked about elitism, and elitism is not based upon the fact that you have to be a Galactico like myself and Tony were talking, or I spoke to Victor about. Elitism is ability. Now, I know people mentioned names to me earlier on saying, oh, John O'Shea or Darren Fletcher. Do you think John O'Shea or Darren Fletcher would get into any kind now? Football's evolved. It's no longer just how hard you are. You've got to have some technique, ability, and some mental strength. And right now, our Man United players that shouldn't be playing for the club, it's a joke now. Man United are falling further behind because of at the bottle to turn around and come and say he wants to leave. I respect Martial for that. But there's there's about another 8 or 9, maybe 10 that need to go right now. Because they just aren't good enough.
We're gonna be talking, going through the whole list of players as we do the player ratings a little later in the show. It's not gonna be very long from now. But I wanna go through some of the comments. Garrett is saying, I keep saying, over and over again, never underestimate teams in the relegation zone, and that is 100% true. Devion is saying Ole was part of the problem. He's not been gone that long. It's going to take a while for the players to switch to that discipline of the new manager. Devion, give me your estimate. What is a while? Let me know how long you think it needs. How long, does Ralph need? Because I remember when Ralph came, I said I'm giving him until the end of January before I expect us to really go get pumping. So let us know what you think. Good afternoon to Martin Philip. Devion is also saying Jody is spot on. Some of the players aren't cutting the mustard. They're not good enough. Every player in the team needs to understand that they have a function in the team, according to Penelope, for sure. Complacency is the biggest problem with the squad, and that's Devin. All right, people. Let me put on my headset so that I could hear a little better. Let's jump straight into it. As far as the game yesterday. So, I named the show really, different manager, same poor performance. And I really want us to get into why Jody gave his reasons why, in terms of, that the players are just not good enough. The players not up to the standard, they're not up to the level. And I'm sure as we go through the player rating, he would list out those players during that time, and we all will get to weigh in on that. So, Big Phil, for you, what are the reasons why Manchester United is just performing poorly at this point in time?
Well, it goes back to what I said earlier. There's no cohesion in this team. There's no chemistry. It's almost like the players are looking to do their own thing when they go a goal down, or it's coming down close to the end of time when it's 0-0. Everybody wants to be that individual hero, right? Like I said, bar David De Gea and maybe some players in the defense. Everybody is looking to save the day, save the world, right? Be that headline story for the next day. Or Harry Maguire edges goal for United, or Bruno Fernandez does this, or CR does this, right? It's never Manchester United win on performances. It's all individual performances, right? Because at the end of the day, as somebody in the comments said, yes, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer hasn't gone that long, but there should still be some signs Remember the first game versus Crystal Palace? Should we have continued playing like that versus I'm gonna negate Young Boys because that was a totally different 11. Should we have continued playing like that versus Norwich and versus Newcastle? You're only as good as your last game. And if I had to relate back to the Crystal Palace game, I was so shocked as to the performance we put on versus Norwich. And then even yesterday, I was even more shocked. And I'm like, is Ralph is this one of the occasions where the players only play well when a new manager come in? I can end it by saying this here because when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer came in as interim manager, remember we demolished Cardiff. Remember that was the first game of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer being in charge. We demolished Cardiff and we played like a team. Martial, Lingard, Pogba linking up, right? And since then, it's been everything downhill from them with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Is it going to be the same thing with Ralph Ragnick? We played well versus Crystal Palace, and all of a sudden we're playing dog shaving cream versus the likes of Norwich and Newcastle. Who knows?
Tony, I want to send this. I want to send this comment in your direction. I don't know if you're
Sure,
afraid
bro.
to say it, but Ronaldo was shocking in that game.
Who's
I don't want
afraid
you,
to say that?
I don't want you to talk directly about Ronaldo per se in terms of his specific performance. But do you think that Ronaldo has anything to do with our poor performance? And the reason why I don't want you to talk about Ronaldo specifically is because we're going to deal with that in the player rating. But do you think Ronaldo is contributing?
I definitely think that he is. Yeah, I definitely think that he is contributing, but ultimately, to put everything on him would be scapegoating him, which would be unfair to him. And the reason why I say that also is because Ronaldo was not the only proper player, and everybody knows me. I am very outspoken in terms of Ronaldo and other players. But he was not the main problem yesterday. There were so many players on that team that were poor. It would be wrong of me to simply call out Cristiano Ronaldo's name alone because Marcus Rashford was abysmal. He was absolutely abysmal. Fred, I'm a fan of Fred. Fred was poor yesterday, giving up simple passes. It was disappointing to see. Varane, he gave away the pass that led to the goal. The goal that they scored was off an error. It was off of an error. And then Harry Maguire, he did what he did after that bad pass, so it tells you a lot. It ran directly through that team. I can actually say that Manchester United played like a team yesterday. So no, so yes, Cristiano Ronaldo is adding to the problem that we're having, but he ultimately isn't the complete problem because clearly the mentality of these players is a major issue. It's a major miss. As Jody said, as Phil said actually, when we played Crystal Palace, we saw the genuine press. You know what Newcastle were doing against us yesterday? They were playing how we were supposed to be playing, hunting in packs, forcing errors. That's what the genuine press is about. And what were we doing? We weren't even looking like if we were structured in a particular way. And it was I wasted 90 minutes of my life yesterday watching that game. I could not believe it that these players were putting on the type of performance that you can play badly, but when you lack effort, that tells everything about you. And all those players lacked effort yesterday. They lacked it completely.
I just want to add one more thing, right? And I can keep it short.
Phil,
We had no.
you had to
Your
do
audio is
something about your
distorted.
mic. Your mic in my ears.
You can hear me?
Yeah, you're just getting some
Yeah.
feedback.
Your audio
Some horrible
distorted,
feedback from your mic. I don't know. Unplug it and plug it back. In the meantime, Greg B.
I mean, when you look at that, and I'm thinking to myself, this what a way to spend my birthday yesterday. But it was like watching that for 90 minutes and thinking to yourself is like, you really needed a couple of drinks in your system. So, so guys, thanks for that. So, those stats kind of helped deal with that horror show. So, but I mean, we watched that game, and I'm watching Newcastle looking like prime Juventus against us, and I'm saying to myself is like, I'm not sure if I'm watching um Alan Saint Maximin or David Trezeguet with dreads because it's like the man was trying to run through us and make us look abject in every aspect of that game, and it was horrendous. And I mean, like Tonio said, it went down the line with the player performances. Like I think the only player that can really hold their head up with any sense of
Was
pride is
David.
David De Gea because like
Correct.
like you said, Press. Like you said, Press. It was him basically keeping us in that game with those saves that he made. And I mean, it's such a disappointing thing to see that he can get back to that level that we know that he is capable of, and the people in front of him cannot maintain and help him reap more from such performances, because it's like all his efforts are truly in vain. When you look at the way we performed together as a team, there was no cohesion, there was no rhythm, there was no idea as what we were doing. I mean, it can't be down to management that these guys can misplace 5-yard passes. That players can't seem to
Exactly.
string a ball to make runs into the box, to get proper crosses into the box, to give service to the likes of men like Cristiano Ronaldo, Edison Cavani, who will live off crosses inside the box. You get a decent ball to any of those guys, 9 out of 10 times it's a sure goal, and we struggle to do even that just once.
Phil, go ahead before I weigh in.
Yeah, you can hear me now, right?
Yeah,
Perfect.
we was hearing you all the time. It's just some distortion, but go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. Just to add shortly, we didn't have any leaders yesterday. We had a bunch of complainers. Complain, 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 complain. No leadership. What a leader does is that he takes that person who's complaining and takes them aside and say, you know what, chill to F out and let me talk to the referee about what happened just now. Whether it's I fouled you or you fouled me, right? A bunch of complainers and a bunch of sissies yesterday. Ronaldo, Fred, Maguire, and the list goes on. Too much complainers in this team.
Yeah, and Devin is saying the same thing in the comments. He's saying, Ronaldo spent more time complaining than attempting to corral the team into a
Mhm.
proper team performance. And Bruno was the same thing.
Yeah.
Here was the thing that frustrated me most yesterday. I am seeing a pattern with Manchester United, and the pattern is we make other teams look good. I don't think Newcastle was getting impressive. I mean, we lost the ball 100 plus times yesterday. We lost the ball more.
157 to be exact.
We lost the ball more in that one game than any other game for the season. If you take Manchester United and you put them to play an intercol side, which is what I guess you would call a high school side or a college side, you
Yeah.
understand? And they give away the ball that much, that college side will look good. If we playing five aside with United players and they give away the ball that much, we gonna look good. It don't matter who on the side, whether it's Bruno, whether it's Ronaldo, whether it's Varane. If they're giving away the ball that much, you will look good because you are always going to get the opportunity to get back possession and do something. That Newcastle side is trash. We played Norwich, and I was wondering why this team on the bottom of the league. All the games I see Norwich play for the season, that is the only game I see them play, and I wonder why they're on the bottom of the league.
We're the ones who
Everybody
look like
else,
the ones in relegation. We look like the team in relegation.
everybody else Norwich play. Norwich look like trash. Even when they get a draw, even when they scrape a win, they look like trash. They play Manchester United, you're wondering, but wait, boy, this Norwich team looking real good. We play Watford, where they are, bottom of the league too. They beat us. Watford look like a top 4 team. Manchester United, we make teams look good. When we play poorly, we actually make teams look good. I was telling Gregory yesterday, we were down at Mikel's Sports Bar.
Hmm.
I know I put on, I say, last game I stepping out for the year. I put on my Dwight York classic top that I got from the fan club in Trinity City Mall. And I was just so mad.
Shameless plug.
You know what I mean? I was so mad. Like, boy, I could have leave this jersey home. I could have come down the road in our white tees, yes? You understand? Serious. I
You know,
was
chat.
really upset.
There's a
I
But
simple,
I walked in my Varane
simple,
jersey and I could have
simple
swear I
reason
blind the man
why.
or something. That's how bad it was.
just let me say this one
There's
more
a
point.
simple
Because I was
reason why
telling
Manchester United is so bad.
just now,
Go
Jody.
ahead, George.
I,
Go ahead, chat. I was about
I
to
was
Dwight,
telling I was telling Greg B this yesterday. Manchester United right now is like that fat girl or that ugly girl with the clip. It does have 3, 4 girls linemen in the club or the linemen wherever, and it does always have a fat girl or ugly girl, and the purpose of that girl is to make the other girls in the clip look good. You all know what I'm talking about. You all know I don't want to watch me like it. You all know I don't.
Just a quick disclaimer: the views of President Chat are not the views of the United Hour. So if there are any plus size women in this chat listening right now, we do
We
apologize for any
apologize. We
insults.
apologize. We apologize.
Don't get me wrong. The fat girl may
Girl,
be
shut
the
up.
prettiest girl, but the purpose of the ugly girl in the clip is to make the other girls look good. And right now, Manchester United is the fat girl or the ugly girl in the Premier League.
First things first, I am in Toronto, Canada. So if I approach a group of girls and I see the fat girl, I go in for the fat girl because I need to stay warm. I am so sorry. I'm going for the fat girl. I got to stay warm. I am in Toronto, girl. Sorry. So all the fat girls that tune into United, our big Phil is here for you.
You, Mr. Killers, roly poly, we need that playing in the background somewhere.
No, but I being very serious, guys. That's how I feel about my team right now. We make everybody else look good.
But Chad, I'm inclined to agree
in.
with you on that because it's like you look at our situation and we look abject. We look like the last resort for anybody to want to even come and play for this team. You know what it is? I mean, Newcastle already have money. If they didn't look like they were going to get relegated, if we had to go in a transfer market and they offered something attractive, people might have faster jumped to them because of that. It's not looking good for us as a club going forward, and something has to change fast.
That's true.
Jody, go ahead with what you wanted to say.
It's easy to tell you why. To be honest with you, it's easy to boil down why Man United are looking so bad. We have an absolutely terrific attacking lineup. We have an easily top 3 goalkeeper in the world. We have a great defence. But the problem you have a bottom of the league midfield. Now, you have 4 centre midfielders. 4. Okay? Paul Pogba, Matic, Fred, Scott. Out of those 4, only one of those players would get to Liverpool, get in City, get in Chelsea, get in Real Madrid, get in Barcelona, get in Bayern Munich, get in Juventus. There's only one. If you want to be an elite club, you have to have elite players. And I'm not talking elite players because they're big names. I'm talking about elite players because their ability is that good. I'm sorry, but a prime Matic is arguably the best holding midfielder in the league. Everybody knew that when he was at Chelsea. But we bought an aging Matic. Mm-hmm. How good is our strategy in the market? How good? I'm sorry. You brought Fred as an 8/10, but you're playing him as a 6. Again, when you play him as an 8 against Crystal Palace, the man was balling. And then you put him back as a 6. It's the same. I'm wondering is Ollie just wearing a Ralph Ragnick like face mask or something? Because it's the same shit.
You know,
the bottom line is very simple. Fred, Scott, Matic aren't good enough to be playing for an elite club like Manchester United, a club that's going to be challenging for trophies. Yes, you served a purpose when we were struggling. You held us in. But going forward, you ain't going to win us a league. And I'm fed up hearing, and I'm sorry to say this, David De Gea is our man of the match. You get 375,000 to save the ball. It's your job. You're doing your job. It's not that hard. I cannot keep hearing, David De Gea is our man of the match. You're doing your job.
Well, when the guy performs, when he's the best.
Shit.
Tranquilo, Jody. Tranquilo.
Somebody's background.
Dreadful. It's killing me, man.
Yeah. So
to be honest with you, I've just had enough of these shit players at the club, and I feel that we lost a person who genuinely cared for the club because of these shit players having no heart, no ability. Some of them can't. I watched a player pass the ball 2 yards straight to a Newcastle player. I watched Ronaldo control the ball, and I thought I was watching Lukaku.
I wanna ask a question. We had the manager come out and say that the team didn't have enough effort, right? He was saying that the team lacked a certain, we the bottom line is we were out hustled, we were out muscled, we were outplayed, right? And not that I agree, and I think we would all agree that we need proper midfielders. So we agree with what Jody is saying. But yesterday, everybody played badly.
Yeah.
Everybody except David De Gea and probably Diego Dalot played badly. And we have to we had to figure out why that is. Why it is, this team continues to play like this. And for me, I think what Ralph needs to do, Ralph is going to have to really shake this team up. Shake this team up. I, for one, would take away the armband from Harry Maguire and have the armband floating because nobody deserves the armband outside of David De Gea right now. And I don't think is the ideal thing to have a goalkeeper, especially a goalkeeper that is not vocal as your captain. That's one. And the other thing that I think we need to do is anybody underperforms, whether it's Cristiano Ronaldo, whether it's Bruno Fernandez, whether it's Rafael Varane, whether it's Harry Maguire, you don't perform on the bench for the next game. On the bench for the next game. Plain and simple. Because there has to be accountability. And that is, to me, one of the things that was lacking under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was accountability. And we need to get that back. For everybody tuning in, remember to like and subscribe to the channel. And so, guys, let's jump into the player rating. And I want to talk firstly. Let's start from the front in terms of the man himself, Cristiano Ronaldo. So, Greg B, start us off.
If we,
How you rate Cristiano Ronaldo's performance yesterday?
if we have to do this out of a 10,
Yeah,
4.
one being
4.
poor, trash,
Mm-hmm.
and 10 being excellent.
4. Because he was making runs, he was trying to get into spaces, but his control let him down. You could see he was frustrated at times, and he didn't give off the body language of someone that's trying to drive a team forward. That frustration was ripe for everyone to see. And then on top of that, that volley that he attempted, where it didn't even touch it, it ended up hitting him in his face, I think, when he would try it from that very sharp angle. Why are you trying a shot from the touch line? It's not like the angle you tried against Spurs and that pulled off. Dude, come on. You're good, but you have to stop thinking you could defy physics right through. 4.
I would not mind if he connect with the ball. My problem wasn't the attempt.
Yeah, but that would end up in Rosie, Chad. Come on, that would end up in Rosie.
Cristiano
That would end up
Ronaldo.
somewhere in the stands high up in St. James Park where they hit what is stewards passing or some crap like that. That was horrendous.
Is Cristiano Ronaldo.
Okay.
He deserves the ability
Okay.
to take the shot, but you need to hit the ball. Don't miss the whole ball.
Chad, he's Cristiano Ronaldo. He's not Jesus. Come on. Let's be realistic here.
All right, Greg says 4. What you say, Big Phil?
3. Too much complaining. Didn't look bothered from the first 20, 30 minutes. For a guy who is supposed to be quote unquote the leader, this whole prodigal son returning, everybody's looking up to you. The fans, even the manager, even the staff, even the players, they're looking up to you. And for you to put down that performance yesterday was absolutely trash. So 3, and that's being generous.
Jody?
-10.
I'm
sorry. I tell you, I would have been on the same page as Big Phil, but I tell you why it's a -10. And this is what he did at the end of the game, and he's done this too many times now, and it's a disrespect to my club. It's a disrespect to the badge I support. It's a disrespect to Manchester United. He seems to think he's bigger than the club, where he can run off and not go and clap those away fans who travelled in freezing cold winter to go and to watch that match at 8 o'clock at night. And he thought it was okay just to run off and not clap. -10. If I never see him in a Man United shirt again, I'll be happy. You cannot keep disrespecting the fans like that.
You know, I
That's
wanna,
just
I
me.
wanna
Sorry.
I wanna get your feedback, Judy. Both Ronaldo and Bruno went straight off the pitch, straight down the tunnel. We know that is not like Bruno. Bruno normally goes and interacts with the fans, and Ronaldo, when he scores or when he's hero, does the same thing. When he's not, he tends to be like a big baby sometimes. But
A
why
spoiled
you
little
think
child.
why you think Bruno? You know, is Ronaldo rubbing off on Bruno in a bad way? Because
Yeah,
both of them, to me, seem
it's
to be
having a
whining a lot
very,
yesterday.
very. I have never seen from the second Ronaldo came to Manchester United, Bruno became the biggest whiner. I thought Cristiano was bad, but Bruno's worse. Bruno used to complain to get his teammates to play better, and we all accepted it. But now Bruno's just as bad as Cristiano. It's absolutely ridiculous. Bruno needs to concentrate on playing football again and stop whining. Like, I'm sorry, but I can't tolerate these little crybabies. You want to go and cry? Go play for Arsenal. Facts. They like a whiner there.
Tonio,
It's disrespectful to the club.
and we totally agree with that, because that you can't be win, lose or draw. You need to go and interact with the away fans.
With your fans, agreed.
Pay your damn wages.
Tonio, what's your rating for Ronaldo?
Well, I agree with Jody. I would still I'll give him a 4 simple because there were players on the pitch who are going to get much less than that from me. But definitely he was poor yesterday. I know Phil said, he's supposed to be like the prodigal son returns and he's supposed to be. I don't see Ronaldo as a leader. I see Ronaldo as a self person. And yesterday he was not even that. When he's not getting his way, I saw him, he was berating a lot of his fellow teammates during a break within the first half, to the point where the commentators even have to say, that's something you should do at halftime, or you should not do that in public. But that's what he was doing, because why? He was not getting his own way. You understand? When he himself was performing poorly, I didn't see him berating himself. And that's where the problem lies. If you can't take a couple minutes after a game, you've been on the pitch for 90 minutes, you can't take a couple minutes after the game to go and tell the fans, thank you for coming out. We are sorry for this abysmal performance. It's not to say you win 4-5, so whether you come and congratulate or say hi or not, they're going to go home happy. They're pissed mad. And you went straight down the tunnel because, he has to go straight into his ice bath, I guess. So he has to get a 4 because his performance was abysmal yesterday. It was completely abysmal yesterday. Completely.
Yeah, I think it.
But you see this thing about players not going and thanking the fans, I have a problem with that. Pogba has been made the biggest scapegoat in the last 5 years, but not once has Paul Pogba ever walked off a pitch. They will boo him and he will stand there and cry and apologise and say sorry. That is a player. That's a person who respects the fans.
Yeah, I remember after the Cardiff game.
Selfish player ever.
The Cardiff game was a classic example of what you're talking about there, because I remember people were chastising him.
We lost 3-0. It was Huddersfield. We lost 3-0 the last home game of the season to Huddersfield.
It was Huddersfield, I remember.
And
was that 18-19?
Apologized to fans, and he literally almost cried.
Yeah.
No, it was Cardiff. It was Cardiff.
Can I ask one question? As a human being, are you thinking right when your emotions are high?
Not always.
No, don't get me wrong. I agree with Tonio and I agree with Jody. Don't get me wrong. I agree with you. He should have gone She should have gone up to the away end and acknowledged, you know what, you guys traveled far to St. James Park. Thank you. But he didn't do that, right?
-3 last night. It was -3.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, emotions are high in Ronaldo's head because he's seen 9 other players do crap. And his emotions are so high from the 20th minute. Now, this is not me giving Ronaldo an excuse, right? But I'm just saying, I kind of see where you guys come from. But if I put myself in Ronaldo's shoes and those emotions are boiling at the 90th minute, you can kind of see where he's coming from, though. But no excuse.
Well, I actually think that what Tonio said is exactly it. Ronaldo probably was thinking, yeah, you see me, I have a game in 48 hours. Let me go and recover. But that just shows the selfishness. unfortunately. But we will talk about
Exactly.
Ronaldo a little more another time. Let's continue going down the
Yeah.
road. Greenwood, who we gonna start off with? We're gonna start off with Antonio this time.
Okay.
Greenwood, how much you give
Um,
Greenwood yesterday?
he would have probably gotten a 3 yesterday simply because I can't even remember. Can anybody remember much about him during the game? Can you really remember much about him during the game?
One
And
broad
that
shot.
lends to correct. And I love Mason. I love Mason. But I think it lends to the fact that when we don't have the ball or we are not playing well with the ball, he becomes kind of non-existent, as a lot of the
In
players
the
did
second
yesterday. But that's
Cristiano
something that
Ronaldo shouts at him in the 23rd minute. He went into a shell, and
that's
I
it.
felt really sorry for
That's
Mason.
it. That's
But
it. So I would have to say a 3.
there's nothing more that Tonio can add. I honestly cannot remember what Mason Greenwood did yesterday.
Remember, I can't. I can't. I really can't. I really can't. I really cannot. I am even surprised when you call Mason there because it's like, oh yes, Mason really did start the game, but he was completely he was completely abject, completely.
All right, so I think we all say three or below, right? For
Yeah.
Mason.
Below.
One.
Yeah,
Who came on for Mason? Sancho, correct?
Yeah, Jadon Sancho.
Yeah.
correct.
All right, so let's
We doing the subs as well. Are we doing the starting 11 first?
no. Well, I'll
Let's do
talk
starting 11 first.
simply because it was half time, and I want
Yeah, okay.
I doing it in terms of strikers coming back. That's how I
Right.
do it.
Okay.
It's not starting 11 subs. It's strikers coming back. So
Right.
Jadon Sancho,
4.
4 for Big Phil. What say you, Greg?
5.
Jody,
6. He didn't put a foot wrong,
Tonio.
but he didn't
5.
win the game either.
The team played so badly that Jadon Sancho to me was a 6 because he was not as bad as the rest.
That's just
I
it.
can agree.
That's just it.
You know, Cavani. Jody start us off.
7.
Greg,
Actually,
Yeah,
sorry,
same.
I apologize. A 6. I'll tell you why it was a 6. He had an opportunity. He had 3 chances. He should have had a hat trick.
Correct,
All from Diego
correct.
Dallo crosses, and Diego Dallo could have had a hat trick assist, and he missed all. He only scored 1 out of 3, and that was the second chance he got at the first when he finally scored. So for me, he was a 6, not a 7. If he had an opportunity to score a hat trick easily yesterday. Diego Dallo just kept putting him on a plate for him, and he just kept missing. That was the only reason I gave him a 6. Sorry.
6.5 for me. That's
and you, Tonio.
I agree with Jody. He would get a 6 from me also simply because seeing Jadon come on as an impact player, he was actually the only player who actually really came on, aside from Cavani who scored the goal, but Jadon he came on and gave somewhat of a creative spark. He still misplaced the ball a couple times. He could have had better passes, simpler passes, but he came on and actually tried to impact the game. I give the reason why I say 6 also, and I'll quickly rate Eddie simply because I remember that one moment. I know he could have had a hat trick, but he should have had 2, definitely. I remember the end of the game when he brought down the ball and he tried to lob the keeper when all he simply had to do was pass the ball to Cristiano Ronaldo for simple tapping. I could not believe it. I could not believe it. And we are poor in crucial moments. We are extremely poor in crucial moments like that. We don't take advantage because we could have come out 2-1 winners in that game, even playing poorly.
Easily.
If he had made the right pass, but he made the wrong decision. But I can really fault Eddie for the way that he plays and the effort that he gives. So he will take a 6 from me also.
We did vilify Fred for that same situation against Chelsea.
Yeah,
correct.
Just
Fred
so
is
we're
not a goal scorer. We could give Eddie a
Correct.
pass.
wow! We're really being fair here. We're really being fair. Okay.
Let me tell you something. When you take Pat Gill in the clip, you need to know your place. Fred needs to know his place.
Tell
Don't take that shot.
that to girls like Lizzo. Anyway, but yeah, that's another story. I'm just gonna say this. I want to emphasize this. I find everybody a bit harsh, but I think I'm giving Cavani a 7 because of the sole reason that when he came on, he actually looked like he had a bit more desire than the original first 11 that came on that team.
A bit.
Correct.
Yeah,
And
I mean the
Correct.
impact wasn't reaping the benefits like you would have
Correct.
like,
Yeah,
but at
but
least his
in terms
goal
of effort,
kept us in that game.
in terms of
Yeah.
effort,
Correct.
he was
Correct.
Yeah, you
Um,
can't fault him for
Correct.
that. I mean, like you said, if I mean, given the chances that he had that he threw away, that's probably why he's not rated higher in my book. But I still give him a 7.
all right, cool. Um, Bruno Fernandez,
Lord.
Oh, gosh.
Antonio,
Phil, don't smile too hard, all right? Don't smile too hard, Phil.
Antonio.
Bruno probably deserved a 1 yesterday, a 2 if I'm being generous, because simply based on his attitude alone, it's like, why are you guys whining against Newcastle, a team at the bottom of the table? If the referee's making bad decisions, pick up the ball and get on with it. We are Manchester United. We are Manchester United. You're whining for calls against Newcastle, not a Man City, not a Liverpool, against a Newcastle team that we're supposed to be running over. It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. So for that alone, he gets a 1 from me. That's not a Manchester United player. I saw San Maximo dancing on the line, and I'm like, if you're having a big game as a Newcastle player and you're their main man, trust me, within the first 5 minutes, San Maximo would have felt one of my defenders very, 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 very hardly. And we're too much of a walkover of a team. That's why they can be at the bottom of the table and still come and do that to us. It says a lot. It says a lot.
We made Joe Linton look like Ronaldinho at some instances. It was
Not
that
making
kind of
man.
embarrassing.
He had a very, very strong game in midfield. He intercepted a lot of passes. He had 19 pass interceptions yesterday.
Yeah, because he's a strong player. He's a strong player. He's a strong player.
Let's not switch the topic on Bruno Fernandez. Let's not switch the topic. You guys go on.
You see, this is why I said don't smile too hard, because look, the grin on your face to just kind of chastise Bruno Fernandez any opportunity you get. Yes, it's deserved, but come on. Let's not hide the agenda here.
No, let Greg B go since he has the dance.
No. You go first, because you were the one. You the one who wanted to keep on topic, right? Go on. Keep on topic.
I'll go first.
No.
I'll go.
Let me ask a prediction. I mean, not a prediction. A rating.
Prediction.
I will.
I predict Phil's gonna give him a negative.
Okay, first of all, the first half, with all that whining and complaining and doing nothing in the 10 role, you're as bad as Cristiano. You are -10 for me. In the second half, when you dropped into the 8 and you finally stopped whining and you started playing football and started spraying passes to Tellez and Dallo and started working and playing football, at best you were 3 or 4. But I'm not going to turn around and forget how awful and whiny you were in the first half. So I'll give you a first half rating and I'll give you a second half rating. But you still weren't a damn good enough, because if you would have got a solid 5 if you had shut your mouth in the first half. But because of that, you're only going to get a 4 at best from me. And that's me being generous to him right now.
Generous.
But
Very.
I can't
very
stand
generous.
that whining.
Greg B?
He gets a 2. He gets a 2 because, like Jody said, that amount of complaining and gesturing to the referee to get these calls, it was completely uncalled for. Play a game, get into a groove, do what you did in the second half, and play the game that you know that will give Newcastle the kind of problems that you're accustomed giving other defenses. So honestly, the fact that it got to that, and it was hard to watch. There was not enough stag to get over the complaints that I was seeing from him. I'm like, what are you doing, man? So 2.
Phil?
I won't give Bruno Fernandez a rating, but the number I'm going to call is 26. 26 is the number of times.
The amount of times he gave away the ball. You have to go with the statistics on this one, didn't you?
Greg B, I did not interrupt you, so shut the up. Okay? I did not interrupt you.
There's not a Man United player that.
Okay, Ray Charles.
Ronaldo had double digits.
26 times.
Double digits. Maguire had double digits. Fred had.
Yeah, I know, but we're on Bruno Fernandez right now. I'm talking about Bruno Fernandez because out of all the 10 outfield players, he gave away the ball most, 26 times yesterday. In the last 2 matches, Bruno Fernandez has given away the ball 52 times. In the last 2 matches. So I won't give Bruno Fernandez a rating, but I'll call the number 26. That's the number of times he gave away the ball versus Newcastle yesterday. 26 times.
the interesting thing is that whether Ralph was going to bench him or not, Bruno Fernandez is ineligible to play the next game because of an accumulation of red cards. So we are going
Well,
to
yellow
see a
cards.
Bruno yellow card. Sorry, yes, we're going to see an accumulation. We're going to see a Manchester United that is minus Bruno Fernandez in our next game.
Thank
I can see
God.
the happiness in Phil's face right now. I can see the happiness in his face. He wants to crack a smile right now.
Greg,
Look
you
at him. Look,
cannot
look, look,
come
look,
down
look.
and
He's
say
celebrating. He's
Bruno
celebrating.
Fernandes,
Hey, if you
say he deserves to
appreciate
start the next
what
game.
we're doing here at the United Hour, please like, please subscribe, and let's grow this community.
Good evening to Raul inside the comments. All right, guys, whom else did we have to touch in the midfield?
No. We got a guy by
Do
the
not
name of
forget the Marcus Rashford. Don't forget. Yeah, let's not forget him. Let's not forget him. Let's not forget him.
Don't forget him because his rating for me
I'll start
is
Rashford.
minus and his shirt number. Okay, that is Marcus Rashford's rating, minus and his shirt number. That guy only knows how to feed children. Only know how to feed children. Cannot feed nobody on my chest. That guy put out a disgrace of a performance. Jody is giving Cristiano Ronaldo a minus 10. Marcus Rashford deserves that minus 10 as well. That guy was absolutely abysmal yesterday.
I gave Cristiano
Absolutely
minus 10.
atrocious and
That
disgusting.
disrespected the club. That's why he got that rating. And Bruno, because Bruno shut his mouth in the second half and he actually started to play well, I gave Bruno a 4 at best. If we're looking at Marcus
Go ahead,
Rashford,
Jody.
you have
Rashford,
to
yeah.
be minus 10. I have to agree with Phil on that one in the first half. Second half, he ran, he worked, he put in some challenges, he hit some people. I'm giving him a 1. Because you still didn't do anything when you had chance. You had one great shot in the second half, but it doesn't mean anything. You had chances to press the ball, you did stupidity. You had chances for Tellers overlapping, you did nothing. It was awful.
Go ahead, Antonio. Rashford.
I remember saying a couple weeks ago on the United Hour, I was saying that when I see Marcus Rashford and Cristiano Ronaldo pair together, I instantly hold my head because I know what it is I'm going to get on top. Because they're too similar in their mindsets in terms of how they play. There is no facilitator in either of them. They are men who needs to be facilitated for. But regardless of that, Marcus Rashford has to get like a minus, I would say minus 20 for me, and I'll tell you why. It's simply because I'll come back again to attitude. I saw within the first 7 minutes of the game, Marcus Rashford lost the ball on his own account and jumped up in the air like, my God, instead of trying. You see, when Fred loses the ball, he could lose it 27 times, 30 times, but he still tries to get back that ball. Too often, Marcus Rashford stands, throws up his hands, and too quickly, and it's almost like if in his mind, he's starting to believe that he's bigger than the team. I started to feel that way last year, but it's definitely becoming more clear to me now, simply because you have no more injuries. You are fully fit. What is your excuse? Even if you're not performing well, your effort and what you give on the pitch says a lot. Why did it take the second half for you to start to want to begin to play or start to want to have to play? That did not make any sense to me. So he gets a minus 20 for me.
Tonio, you said something there, and the truth is it's very concerning, you know, because I don't think Greenwood and Ronaldo could play together. If you say Rashford and Ronaldo can't play together, then the only person who could play with Ronaldo is Cavani, because the reality is Martial ain't going to be here much longer, even though Manchester United rejected Sevilla's first attempt to get him. And I agree with that, simply because if you want the player, buy the player, or a loan, you can't afford to buy him now. A loan with an option, with not an option, but with the criteria to buy.
You offer 25% of his salary, and
25%.
No 25% of his salary, no loan fee, and you don't want to put an option to buy. Not an obligation, an option. We're not wasting.
So it's like you basically want him for free. It's like you want him for free, which makes no sense.
No.
I say give us Jules Koundé and we'll call it even.
I was just about to say that. You can have Harry and Martial.
I agree, 100%.
Greg B, was your rating for Rashford?
One, one, because it was it
I
was it was a horror show. It was a horror show to watch at times. I mean, there was that one instance where I don't know if it was a shot or a cross, and it just went all the way to the outside. I'm like, Marcus, what is that?
What
Marcus
is that? What is that? What is
Marcus
that?
I
Marcus
swear,
get a one.
it was a horrendous. It was a horrendous thing to look at. And in my mind, I'm like, how he was still on that pitch after that was beyond me.
It's
Marcus
because
get a
Ralph did not have seven. It's because Ralph didn't have seven subs. I'm sure Ralph wished he had seven subs yesterday. I'm sure he wished he had the opportunity to have seven subs, just being able to put on the bench, because definitely three was not enough. I could not believe that Marcus Rashford and Bruno Fernandez played 90 minutes yesterday. That's how badly a team we were, because the changes that were made were necessary, but it was not enough. We needed more. We needed the ability to make more subs. That's how poor we were yesterday.
I think even Ahmad would have done better yesterday. That's the thing. Oh, good.
Of course. Ilanga, I want to see Ilanga in this team so badly, so badly, because these players don't want it. I don't even understand how Marcus Rashford is starting over Jadon Sancho right now. That makes no sense to me. Absolutely none. And if I were Donny van de Beek, I will definitely still be looking to be transferred out in January, because I mean, watching Bruno Fernandez play the way that he's playing, and I'm still not getting an opportunity. Paul Pogba is injured on vacation, and I'm still not getting any team. I can't blame the man for still wanting to leave. I really can't. If he still does.
Well, that lineup on Thursday is going to speak volumes.
Yeah, very.
Definitely.
So, guys, I wanted to put forward a scenario, but I got it's jumped out of my mind. So we'll just continue with the ratings until it jumps back in. Who we going to? We're gonna do Fred and Scott together, because at this particular point, I don't think it makes a difference to split them.
Yeah.
So McFred, what rating do you give McFred, Greg B?
5 is too generous. I would say probably maybe a 4, because they were both like 2 apiece.
That is still way too generous. Oh, you mean combined? Okay, understood.
Yeah. Because it's like the two of them, it's just like Scott at times, you didn't know what he wanted to do. Fred was his usual self, trying to cover as much ground when he may have misplaced a pass or two. I mean, he covers much ground, but you know what? So does Mo Farah. But it's like, what do you want to get? What do you want to get, Fred? Come on, give us something a little more different. Give us something that show us the same kind of energy you showed us against Crystal Palace that got you a goal against Crystal Palace. Come on, man. Why resort back to default settings? It was hard to watch that performance yesterday. That midfield was basically non-existent. It's like we were playing with 9 men.
Yeah.
Big Phil?
Thank you, Campbell.
I can't rate anything I can't see, and I didn't see our midfield yet. I'm sorry. They both get either a question mark or a WTF, and I'm not talking about where's the food, and that's it. Sorry.
You ate all the food. That's why you're asking.
Tonio, McFred, what's your rating?
Combined, they would get a -2 from me, because they were poor. They were poor.
I thought I was.
And Joe Phil said he didn't see them, but I saw them. I saw the 1,000,001 bad passes these guys gave away. Simple 5-yard passes that
Basically,
I could
it was
not
like this. It was like this.
It was a horror show. It was a horror show. It's like, come on, man. What are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? It was poor. It was poor. They gave away the ball under pressure, not under pressure. They just gave it away, which made the game even harder for us. We had no control in that game yesterday. And that was one of the main things Ralph spoke about when he came, was having a team who can play in a manner where we have control. And we had none. We had absolutely none.
I wish I could say something different, but I had to agree.
Yeah.
I would give them a 2. As is a double up. 1 and 1 is 2. So we're gonna give them a 2. Who else do we have? We reach to the defense now. Let's start off with what I consider Let's start
Did
off
he
with
just
what
say
I.
negative 1 million?
1 billion.
Oh
Let me
gosh.
let
Yeah,
me
even
let
That,
me
then,
that's
start
that
off.
basically
guy's
that's
in
basically
charge.
the equivalent of Barcelona's debt right now.
Yeah,
Let
pretty
me
much.
start off with
Yeah.
let me start off with a player that I think we could agree had one of the better games as far as the outfield goes. Diego Dalot. What is your player rating for Dalot, Judy?
7. For me, I watched this, and what I did notice, this is where it was smart and Harry Maguire was stupid. Their first goal, Varane's mistake. Now, I'm not sure if everyone was watching this properly.
Yeah.
He's running towards Diego Dallo. Diego's smart. He's opened his body up, so if the pass goes to his right, which is what he's meant to do, he's covered the overlap perfectly. He never shirked a tackle all game. Now, going back to that scenario of the goal, the only problem there was Harry Maguire has the intelligence of a non-league player to stand next to Dallo, and the second he cuts in, you don't let Maximan on his right foot, you hit him one shot. But obviously, Harry has the intelligence of maybe a snail, like one of those big
A
ass
pea.
cells that's
A
in his
pea.
brain right now, and
A
a pea
pea.
smarter than Harry. So, like, it's just telling you how bad it is right now for Harry Maguire. But Dallo tackling was good. He was solid. He was fast. Saint Maximin didn't get past him at all. That he actually Saint Maximin chose to run at Varane and Maguire, then go up against Dallo, which tells you what you
There you
needed
go.
to know. He was hard in tackles. His forward runs I thought was brilliant. He could have had a hat trick of assists if not for poor finishing. So it's for me, he was the best player on the field with a 7, and that's me being extra generous because I'm adding up all the shit and giving him an extra point for having to play with that crap. So it was that bad. He was the best
Going
player on
back,
the
As
going
field.
back to Martin's comment, I thought the exact same thing versus Norwich. That we couldn't play any worse. And United said, lo and behold, hold my beer. Newcastle won. Man United.
Yeah, it's true.
Jody, before I move on, you mentioned Harry Maguire, so rate him one time. How much you would give Harry?
Can I just do my last 3 defenders in one shot?
Sure, why not?
Maguire 1, Varane 1, and Tellez I'm going to give a 5. And that the 3 of them combined was about as good as Dallas. So sums it up.
Yeah, 1, and 5 makes 7, correct? Greg B, Dalot.
He was one of our better performers. I'd give him a 6 though, because I think there were a lot of times he was kind of caught out in some instances when Newcastle especially broke out on us, and that's always going to be a susceptible situation when it comes to the way that we lined up, because a lot of us are trying to go forward and we're going to have exposed spaces, but he didn't have the worst game, but he didn't have the greatest game either. So for me, add to the fact that he got the assists. Well, he was actually able to put in some crosses, something that we were desperately crying out for in some regards. I give him a 6.
Tonio.
Dallo gets a 7 for me, and I'll say quickly why. I couldn't understand even in Ole's time why he wasn't really given an opportunity under him. When he came, it almost seemed like Ole just didn't really feel him much at all. But I give him a 7 simply because every time he steps on the pitch for Manchester United, he always gives 100%. Always gives 100%. He's always willing to go forward, always progressive in his play. Yes, he may be caught out sometimes. What fullback isn't? But I think at the moment we are playing with actual fullbacks, and they go forward, and that's what we want to see, and we have to start incorporating that. So he gets a 7 for me just based on the fact that he always wants to do something. He's never afraid to make a pass or go forward or make a run, and that's always great to see. So he'll get a 7 for me.
Big Phil.
Yeah, I think Dallo actually maybe created the most chances in our team. So I definitely want to give him a 7. He gets the assist for Cavani's goal. I think he was more positional aware than Alex Telles, who I'll later on give my rating for because he was totally out of position. But for me, Dallo gets a 7.
All right, everybody real generous with Dalot, boy. Dalot gets a 6 for me. Um, He was the best outfield player, and hence the reason he gets six, because nobody else in get that higher mark from anybody or me. Um, I should say not anybody, but for me. My only challenge with Delo is that in the first half in particular, there were a couple crosses that were overhit or
Yeah.
just crosses into space. If you have Cavani and Ronaldo, I don't mind that, because one will be close, and then if you overhit one will be in the back. But when in the beginning, first half, you had Ronaldo. If you're not aiming for Ronaldo, you don't just kick the ball in the box. And the reason I say that is because we used to criticize the likes of um Ashley Young, a million crosses and none in finding anybody head. We used to people like to criticize Wan Basaka and say, oh, he's a horrible crosser. The ball when the ball hits anybody head. Well, if the low crossing the ball and it hits nobody head, you gotta get the same criticism. You understand? So you'll get a six for me for that. If you have one man to aim for, put the ball close to the man. If you have two men to aim for, then you could start just crossing the ball into zones. Because well, one man gonna be here, next man gonna be there. You could hit ball, but don't cross the ball into zones when it's only Cristiano Ronaldo in the box. That ain't making no kind of sense. It have nobody. Once you miss him, it have nobody in the back to get
Pick
the
up,
ball.
yeah.
So yeah. So for me, Diego Dolo will get a solid six. I think I will do like Judy as well and leave the rest to you guys. Maguire,
Hmm.
Maguire will get a one.
Same,
Varane,
same area.
Varane had to get the same. And
I don't know.
Tellez,
I kind of feel like what, Varane could probably get a small pass because I mean it was his first game back, but it
a
still ain't
pass,
that high.
a
He gets
pass is what,
he,
one and a half?
maybe a two at best.
um, and Tellez will get a four, because after the low, he was the next best player
Yeah,
on the pitch. So yeah. So Antonio, what say you about the next three defenders?
I think you hit the nail right on the head there. I don't think I need to add anything else. Harry deserved the one, Tellez deserved the four. Varane, I'll give Varane a two. And as we said, that was seven. And that's basically it. That's in order of how they actually performed yesterday.
facts.
That's how I feel about it. So I fully agree. Fully agree.
Big Phil?
Harry Maguire should have done better. Um, he's not captain material, but he's wearing the captain's armband, so that's to signify something, right? But he isn't one of these guys who is taking on this whole leadership roles. Yep, I cost 8 million.
Right.
I'm captain of Manchester United, and
Bag, the
that's it.
first pocket at the top in front of the bag. You're bringing it for me, please. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. Yeah, he isn't exemplifying this whole leadership role at Manchester United. Should have done better yesterday. And I mean, it's painful to watch Harry Maguire. I watch other centre backs and how they lead their centre back partner. Right, I see Thiago Silva leading Rudiger. I see Virgil van Dijk leading Matic. Right, even back in the day, I saw when Carlos Puyol was leading Gerard Piqué. Right, and I'm like, this is what we have to deal with on a week in, week out. Right, Harry Maguire leads. So somebody has to lead Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire can't lead anybody. At the end of the day, Harry Maguire for me in that match, he gets a point five. Varane, I'm going to be a bit lenient on him because it's his first game back, but that still doesn't excuse him, right? He's still an experienced center back, right? So I'm going to give Varane a 1.5, and that's it.
And Tellez.
I'm gonna give him a 3.5. There are many times where there are many times where Newcastle were on the counter attack, and Bruno Fernandez literally had to cover Alex Telles's ass because he was not aware of Newcastle's right winger, which would be on Telles's side, and Telles was just leaving that side so exposed, right? So I'm gonna give Telles a 3.
All right, cool. David here, last guy in the camp. Who wants to go first?
I mean, what's there to say? 9. I mean, if you want to, I can't give him a perfect time because I'm no clean sheet, but Other than that, the man literally saved our ass throughout that whole game. A 9.5, 9.9. Let's get there at least. I mean, come on, this the guy.
Nine is a bit too high. I'll give him an 8.
Tonio?
I agree with Phil. I'll give him an 8 also. That's fair. That seems fair.
I'll button a little bit. I'll show you where David De Gea gets a 9 or a 9.5. Remember when he played against Arsenal and he made those 13 saves? That's more of a 9.5, right?
So I mean, come on. Why does he have to get a 9.5 and making 13 saves? He shouldn't have to be making those many saves in the first place. That's a slant on the defense in itself.
Boy, it's either 13 saves or 13 goals. That's how I see it, right? So
Arsenal ain't good enough to score 13 goals, but whatever.
true.
Well, Newcastle shouldn't even have been good enough to score 1.
And I mean, they were lucky to even get that one. That's to tell you how bad it was.
You know, Jody, what say you? How much you giving David De Gea?
Sorry, I'm giving David a 5.
Huh?
Oh, okay. You got to the extreme. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tonio's tablet fell down with that one. That's how shocking that was.
No, I'll tell you why. And this will be my last contribution for the evening. I'll tell you why. The reason I give David a 5, and he's doing his job. He is paid £375,000 a week to save the ball. If you're the highest paid goalkeeper in the world, which he is, you better be saving every damn goal. So every damn shot. So I'm sorry, he's just doing his job. Why I gave him such low? His distribution, his command of the box, too many times where he could have collected the ball, he didn't. It's just, the saves were superb. Don't get me wrong, they were great saves, but they were normal routine saves for him. Like if David had come out, they had so many corners. If David had come out and caught a few corners, I would have been happy. But it's like he's allergic to catching corners. Like he's allergic
That's never
to
been his strong suit.
He's out of danger. I don't care, but this is modern football. Modern goalkeepers are able to have great distribution, great command of their box. They're able to come out of their penalty box and snuff out danger. David doesn't do that, and I don't buy into this thing that I do not buy into it that it's a world-class save. His job is to make saves. His job is not to score goals, is it? And this is the problem I have with this. It's yes, the saves were fantastic, but that's what you're paying for, isn't it? What are we paying for?
Fair.
I will give.
I have. The saves were great.
I will give David a solid 8, because to me, we deserve to lose that game. Plain and simple. Manchester United should have lost to Newcastle.
Mm-hmm.
Newcastle had the better opportunities. They played the better football. They played with more intensity. They played with more passion, more desire. They deserve to win that game. And the only reason they did not win that game was David De Gea. And they can't rubbish, the points that Jody made, because we know David De Gea is not the strongest commander of his box. He doesn't like to run out and get balls. He could sometimes be too easily bullied, on set pieces. But all of that being said, if it wasn't for him, we would not be talking about a point. He would have been talking about no points. So, I mean, yes, it's the Premier League. Yes, anybody could beat anybody. But when you look at Manchester United against Newcastle, when you look at them against Norwich, when you look at them against Watford, we can't make any excuses for these performances anymore. These are the teams everybody else racking up a score against. Everybody else racking up a score. The other team everybody was racking up a score against before today was Leicester. Leicester beat Liverpool today 1-0. But, City beat them. Chelsea beat them. Other people racking up,
Arsenal beat them.
Arsenal beat them, and they beat us 4-2. It's like all the teams that everybody else racking up a score against, we making them look like the best teams in Europe. Not even in England, the whole of Europe. That's how bad we could be. Let's hope that Martin Phillip is correct when he says it can't get any worse. Let's hope it really can't get any worse.
No disrespect to Martin Phillip, but I feel like every time he's made that comment, just feel like Obia.
All right, guys. So we're going into extra time, right? So this is extra time on the breakdown for the on United Hour, where we're going to be talking about what do we expect on Thursday's game, right? That which is tomorrow, please God. What time we playing the game, guys?
No, tomorrow's Wednesday, no?
No, tomorrow is Wednesday. Sorry,
Yeah, tomorrow's Wednesday.
I rush in the week. I'm sorry. Thursday, the day after tomorrow. But what time is the game?
I think it's supposed to
Boy,
be 4, I think.
I don't know, but it's 90 minutes I can never get back.
Yeah, I think it's 4 o'clock. So, all right, what do you all expect after the performance today? We have no Bruno Fernandez. What are you guys looking for? I let me start off. I'm looking for some changes. We were talking about Ole earlier, and I think one of the challenges Ole faced was Cristiano Ronaldo. The best 45 minutes, best 30 minutes of football Manchester United played this season, after the first game against Leeds, was when we played against Everton. And Cristiano Ronaldo was on the bench. I know people, Sir Alex said, you start your best players and all of this drama. But the bottom line is, for the first half, when Ronaldo was on the bench, was the best footballer we played. I think if it was me, I would go extreme and I would drop Cristiano Ronaldo. I would play Cavani and Elanga in that 2 on top.
That would be an interesting duet.
What will I do behind them? Rashford and Sancho. But Rashford needs a stern talking to. Somebody needs to let Rashford know that even though he's playing on a 2, you are a better winger than you are a striker. Stop trying to get in the box and shoot. Think pass first. If that alone could be communicated to Rashford, I think we'll see a better performance. Your shots will come. But if you keep taking the ball and trying to beat everybody and running the box, that ain't gonna work out.
His game hasn't been team oriented for a while now, so it's something that it kind of needs to be reincorporated back into the way he plays, because it's gotten a bit greedy.
I have seen a regression in Rashford. You all remember Rashford 2017?
Hell yes.
When he was always trying stuff and 80% of the times it wasn't coming off. I don't know where we get this. Rashford from 2019 was great. Even an injured Rashford last season produced a lot of assists and hugged the wing a lot more. I do not know what is going on with this Rashford since he's a healthy Rashford and he's going backwards for me. So, but I would still give him an opportunity. I'd play Rashford and Sancho. Definitely Sancho. Greenwood on the bench for me. And we will have to go. I want to see what Donny could do in this team. I really do. If I'm honest, I don't think he'll get a start. I expect Fred and Scott to start. But if it was up to me, I would go Fred and Donny. I'd go Fred and Donny as the next 2. And in terms of the back line, I expect Shaw to get a run out. Not because Tellez has done anything deserving to be dropped, but simply because, we need rotation. And
Right.
Shaw hasn't really gotten time under Ralph as yet in terms of, him seeing him on the pitch.
Apart from the Champions League game.
Yeah. So I expect Shaw to get a run out. That's the only reason. Tellez, I'm not Tellez. Rafael Varane, for sure. And I am so fed up with Harry Maguire. If Lindelof and Eric Bailly are still unavailable, I would start Jones.
Well, from what I understand, Bailly's coming back from the African Cup of Nations. He got recalled. So
I would start Phil Jones.
oh, come
I
on,
am
Press. We ain't that
serious.
desperate. We ain't that desperate. Come on.
Bro.
Things bad, but they ain't that bad.
You people are telling me.
Tony muted.
You people are telling me that Harry Maguire is not that bad?
No,
Like I said,
we're not saying that, We're not saying that. We are saying that when you still have the likes of Eric Bailly, starting Phil Jones over Eric Bailly, things aren't that bad. We still have other options besides. I agree with you, Harry. I don't like to call injuries on players, but if Harry had a nice, decent layoff, I would not be too angry. Let's just put it like that. And this is
It's
one of
not
my
like
players.
yeah,
He's one of my players.
it's not like
I'm not going
Yeah.
to lie. I'm not going to
it's
lie
not
because at the end of the day, Harry Maguire needs time away from this team to really gather back some
Yeah.
semblance of the
Yeah.
player that he was initially supposed to be for this squad.
And
But right now
and
everybody just seems to have him as a target because it's like he looks like the softest. He is the softest member of this back line as we speak. And
exactly. And
it's disturbing.
what's sad about it, Greg, is the fact that this is our Manchester United captain. That's a big problem for me because your captain is supposed to be an example of what your team is made of, what your team is built on. And every time I watch Harry, it's almost like no striker fears Harry. No
Yeah, but
striker fears Harry.
it's also a damning thing on the rest of the team because it's like, okay,
Yes, it
you're telling
is.
yourself
It is.
you're telling yourself, okay, Harry's basically the worst captain we have there. You couldn't give De Gea the captaincy a year back because in 1920 he was having a horror show against games like Watford and Norwich and Newcastle. So giving him the captain's armband kind of gave him a set of heaviness. You can't give Rashford it because he's erratic. You can't give it to Cavani because you're not sure if he's going to be here. You can't give it to Bruno because he's too erratic at times. Who are you going to give it to? Ronaldo?
Take the
It
captain armband and you do it like
Let it float.
under Jose and you let it float. You
Yeah.
you start off with giving it to David De Gea. And after that, you have a good game of a certain group of players, obviously.
Mhm.
Ronaldo, Bruno Fernandez, Marcus Rashford, because I think he's of the age.
I guess he has seniority within the group too. So yeah.
Cavani, those four guys, they go out there and they do well. No, I don't care how great a game Rafael Varane has. You now come. We're not making that mistake twice.
No, of course not. Yeah.
You're not even going and get a little touch at the armband. You understand?
Yeah.
Those four guys,
You'd be
they
lucky
have
to be vice.
outstanding games. They give one of them the armband to wear. Maybe Luke Shaw if he has an outstanding game. Other than that, by default, David De Gea, because we don't have any right now. Everybody was like, yeah, Bruno for captain, but Bruno is Mr. Whiny right now, so nah, forget that. Good afternoon to what is that? Reku 1986, and Jeffrey is in his house. So that's mine. I'm gonna continue with Delo on the right, and well, obviously David De Gea picks himself. So that is my 11. That's what I would like to see. I think we need some changes. I'm thinking about Burnley. Burnley has two strike men up there that are very strong.
Mm-hmm.
And because they're very strong and because they're good in the air, one may think that we should definitely play Harry. I don't think so. Right now, Harry is off his game, and playing somebody who's very strong is, as I say, Phil Jones or Eric Bailly for me. Because Eric Bailly, you could be taller than him, you're still not getting the ball ahead of him. Eric Bailly dealing with anything. So that is me. That's totally me. Who wants to go next in terms of what they expect on Thursday?
I would just say quickly, I won't give the full team of what I want to see, but I definitely want to see a lot of changes. I would not mind seeing an Eric Bailly and Rafael Varane centre-back pairing, definitely. It seems me more reassured. I don't want to see Victor against Burnley because, as you said, these forwards, they bully defenders. And definitely we know that Victor Lindelof takes bullying. Harry Maguire, you can outsmart him, you can outwit him, you can get in front of, you can get the best of him. But it's harder to get the best of Rafael Varane and Eric Bailly. I definitely know that they are not pushovers. Continue with Dalot on the right, and on the left-hand side, we are not, I'm not really too sure, but definitely what I know I want to see is that I want to see the level of the football IQ of this club. I want to see it raised. And the only way for me to see that, I would love to see a team that has Donny van der Beek, Edison Cavani, Jadon Sancho in it all at the same time, because these are a couple of the most intelligent players at the club, and they really are not seeing, they're not seeing the pitch much. And it's telling when you watch the likes of Marcus Rashford. We are watching the midfielders like they're inept of ideas. There's no creativity, there's no thinking in how it is we are playing, holding up the ball, simple basic things we're not seeing. And I've said it time and time again, Donny van der Beek is way too intelligent for this Manchester United team. You put him in another, if he were at City, he would look amazing. You know why? There are a lot of brain players there, intelligent players there, players who run, pass, move, know when to go, when to stop, when to stay. It's football is more than just brawn and your natural talent, which is what a lot of our players are living on at the moment. It's more than
True.
that, and these fellas really need to raise their levels. And the
True.
ones who I think have the mentality to do so, a lot of them aren't on the pitch consistently enough. So we know we're going to see McFred again, as much as we don't want to, but we know that's definitely going to happen. I don't want to see Marcus Rashford starting. I would love to see Jadon Sancho starting. I would love to see Alanga getting a run also in the team. So we're going to see. But I know with Ralph, in terms of Luke Shaw, even before Ralph Ragnick came to Manchester United, he criticized Luke Shaw. I never forgot that in an interview where he was saying he wasn't sure. He said he think we needed a new left back because he wasn't sure if Shaw was up to par or up to the level. So the fact that we are not seeing Shaw in the team consistently, I think, is a bit telling also. And then competition breeds success. It just
Mm.
breeds success. So we need to see rotation. We need to see players understanding that nothing is just handed. You can't have a poor game and expect to start the next game. When we're seeing our rivals where a player can have a hat trick and he still doesn't know if he's going to start the next week. Those are the levels and standards that we need to be at, and our standards are way too low.
Big Phil?
Yeah, my front two. I am going to bench Ronaldo, and I'm going to want to play Edison Cavani and Mason Greenwood. I say Edison Cavani because it's just natural of Edison Cavani to press. Whether we're playing under Ole or Ralph, it's just natural of Edison Cavani to press, right? So we will have some press, and that's something we haven't seen versus Newcastle. That was something we saw against Norwich, right? So Edison Cavani up top for me with Mason Greenwood. Um, this is where it may get a bit tricky because I'm still hoping and praying that Marcus Rashford and Jadon Sancho can form a connection, whether it's on the left or right wing. I don't care, right? So I want to see Marcus Rashford and Jadon Sancho both on the wings. In my midfield, I'm going to play Donny van de Beek and I'm going to play Nemanja Matic. That would be the midfield. I want to see their performance versus Burnley similar to what they put in versus West Ham in the Carabao Cup. Even though we got knocked out, they were still our best midfielders, right? In defense, I'm gonna agree with Tonio. I want to see Eric Bailly and Rafael Varane because I think those two are more suited for more physical and aggressive strikers. Victor Lindelof turns to Victor Lindelof when it comes to physical strikers, right? So that's just me. Diego Dallo, he's hardly put a foot wrong since I think since he started being part of the starting 11. Can't remember if it's under Michael Carrick or under Ralph, right? But it doesn't matter, right? He's hardly put a foot wrong, right? So definitely he should definitely cement his place there. With regards to Luke Shaw or Alex Telles, I mean, if Luke Shaw is available, I want to see what he can do now that he has seen what Telles is capable of doing. And he knows that his place is not cemented. He can definitely improve. As Tonio said, competition breeds success, right? So let's see what Luke Shaw could do if he's available to play on the left. And yeah, not much per se because David De Gea keeps his place, and I guess that's my starting 11. But what I expect to see in terms of changes, that's what I expect to see. In terms of a performance, I don't know. I do not know which Manchester United will turn up. So, yeah.
Greg B?
We have to remember, like, if anybody knows Burnley style, if anybody remembers how Burnley plays, they are a very, very physical team.
Yeah, that's what they
So,
have. They ain't
so yeah,
skilled.
so you don't play players that are going to fall into their hands. So for me, like you guys are saying, Lindelof is one that doesn't get in that team. Maguire right now doesn't get in that team. For me, Shaw doesn't even get into that team right now because I think there are a lot of
Ah,
times that
Shaw.
he
Shaw is
tends to.
very physical.
No, but
Sometimes
not
unnecessarily
physical
so.
enough. I remember that a couple of games against Burnley where he was catching his skin to hold up against certain players. I think it's Stefan
Okay.
Defoe who kind of took him to task in a lot of games in previous occasions. So
Okay.
you have to kind of look at it from that perspective. So maybe Tellers will probably get the nod over him for that aspect alone. But the rest of the team, I agree with Phil because Donny will give a level of intelligence and creativity from a deeper position. Matic is there and he can handle the physicality, and it's not going to be very, very quick to say that he won't be able to hold his own. He'll be able to do that. He won't have to overexert himself and have to chase down somebody like say it was a City and they chase a Riyad Mahrez or a Raheem Sterling.
That is
It's not.
actually not a bad shout. Matic and Donny
Yeah,
holding
it's.
in
I'm
front
gonna.
of the
I'm
defense.
so I have to agree with him on that one in itself. I'm still on the fence as regards Marcus Rashford because I don't know where his head is at times. But given who else is available, I mean, Ilanga and Ahmad are physically they're not going to be able to really. I don't think they'll cut the mustard. They'll have the pace, but as regards like getting into spaces and having to deal with the physical presence of some of the big strapping defenders that Burnley have, I don't think this is a game necessarily that suits them. So Rashford will get ahead of there. Sancho, I would love to see that, and I agree with Cavani being up there because yeah, you want to be able to put Burnley's defense under pressure. They're big, but they're not quick. So you have someone there who basically is able to hassle them and say, hey, where are you going with that ball? It kind of throws Tarkovsky and whoever else might be in the back line. It throws them for a loop and they have to make a reactionary pass. So you want that there. Mason, you want him there because you have someone who is fast and and has a very good shoots and IQ as regards, finding space, finding gaps that'll be able to get somewhere there. So I think that lineup is fairly decent. And I mean, like we said, David De Gea is basically he's safe. He is safe. So I think that's the starting 11 there for me.
All right, cool. Well, any parting words, guys?
Something has to give. Something has to
This,
give.
this, this is our last game of 2021, and United, Ralph, players, give us something to smile at going into 2022. Right, the last. I want to negate the young boys fixture, but the last two fixtures have been abysmal performances. Like
Hmm.
this last match, this last fixture versus Burnley, let's smile at the end of 2021 and have a smile at the beginning of 2022. Because right now, I think I can speak for most, if not all, United fans. We were totally upset. We were totally shocked. We were totally surprised at the last two performances. And Norwich was absolute crap. And that Newcastle was I don't know. I will not say the word I want to say on this podcast, right? But put in a performance versus Burnley. We could win 1-0 versus Burnley. But if we have about 20 chances and we're creating 40 opportunities, I don't mind that. I don't mind. It would just show that Burnley were a low block team and that we just didn't take our chances, but we performed well. Right? I don't want to see a repeat of that performance versus Newcastle replicated versus Burnley because I will be dead serious. I will not come on the United Hour to review it because I will only be watching the first half. And I'm dead serious. Dead serious. And that's my closing thoughts.
Tonio?
I agree with Phil. I, honest to God, even with the Newcastle game, at 45 minutes, I was ready to not give another 45 minutes of my life to Manchester United on that day. I really felt that way because it's like you're taking time out to support your team and you're seeing what these guys are giving on the pitch. I would like to say I'm hoping for the best against Burnley, but we know what the likes of Burnley, Watford, Newcastle, Southampton, what these teams bring. They come with no fear when they're playing Manchester United, and they're always well structured and they're always well organized, which is something that I fear whenever we're playing any team like that, because we know how we struggle to break down teams who are playing in a low block. And then the physical aspect of it, we can't go there looking to physically outplay Burnley. What we need to go there is go and do what we are. We're Manchester United. We are supposed to have technically better players. So let's go and beat them with what we know we can do. Don't go and try to play their game. They don't go to Burnley and try to win a game on a set piece, or it's highly unlikely you're not going to. I think our stat is like 80 something corners or 90 corners thus far,
And we haven't scored from anything.
That is absolutely ridiculous. That says to you that something is wrong. That's all that is saying. So I'm hoping for the best. I would like to end the year on a great note with Manchester United, but something tells me that we are going to be in for a good battle on Thursday. So I'm hoping for the best, as I said. I really hope that I'm wrong, but let's see. That's all we could say. Let's see, because we don't know which Manchester United is going to show up.
President Chad, you realize how painful that first half was to watch versus Newcastle? You realize how
Yeah,
painful that was?
But you're telling me? You're
two
asking me that?
weeks.
That's
2 weeks
painful,
we
dog.
waited for
And
that.
people talk. And
Phil,
Two
people
I
talk.
rang
weeks.
Phil. I rang in 35 looking at that. How do you think I feel?
God, boy, that is so. President Chad, that is so painful to watch, boy. I honestly want to turn off my TV and watch Money Heist or Squid Game. I'm so serious, boy. That is so painful to watch, boy.
So I like the the thought of optimism from Tonio and Big Phil. Let's end off the year on a positive note and on a united positive note. And I think we could roll with that. Greg B, anything for you?
I just like I said before, something has to give, and I think Ralph understands that he needs to get something better out of this team. And if he has done his homework and he has seen how Burnley plays, he knows he can't go into this game taking it lightly because we could get almost turned over like we did against Newcastle yesterday, and it could be far worse. Sean Dyche is someone that has a knack for finding ways to expose you, and he has a history of pulling off shock wins. So I can't remember if we're playing at home or if we're playing away.
Bro,
But
right
either
now,
way, either way it'll
and
be embarrassing. Either way if we lose.
anybody beat
So
Manchester United is not shock, no? I mean,
It's
I'm
not,
not saying
that's the disgusting part about it. That is
it's
the
not
very disgusting part about it because we've gotten to that point where almost teams turn up thinking that, hey, we could get our 3 points off of these fellas easy. It's like people
Yeah,
rubbing their
yeah,
hands to face us now. That's not the case.
yeah. No fear.
If
There's
Sir
no
Alex
fear.
Ferguson has to watch these things and he built a dynasty and we're basically watching it unravel before our eyes that is a heartbreaking thing.
that Sir Alex dynasty unraveled a long time ago. Right now, we had to try. We looking to build a new. We forget about the old. The old
Hmm.
is long gone. All right, guys, great show. For those still tuned in, remember to like, remember to subscribe, and continue to comment on the video. Let me know your thoughts. What do you expect on Thursday? What is your starting 11? And but you could put in your prediction as well. So from all of us, from the United Hour, you know, Red Devils, we don't die. We multiply. We're going to be back here on Thursday evening, right after the game. I think the game will be finishing about minutes to 6, and we will be here at 6 p.m. Good night, everybody.